I would like to start with the Wagner rebellion and how significant that has been for the Ukrainian perspective. How did Prigozhin's actions change the war?
Absolutely, these were important events that we saw in Moscow, in the Russian Federation, on June 23-24, 2023. They posed the following questions to the world. Does Russia no longer have a strong state? Well, that is, it does not control its internal territory. Is Putin not a strong leader who, again, controls his elites? There is no longer a consensus among the elites. And thus, Russia, a huge state that has a huge number of weapons, various weapons, not only weapons of mass destruction, but also conventional weapons, stands on the threshold of major internal conflicts, and therefore it absolutely changes the understanding of today's war and how it should end. This is the destroyed reputation of Russia as a country to be feared, the destroyed reputation of Putin as a man who controls everything. Prigozhin showed that 5,000 to 8,000 armed men are enough to take control of the entire Russian Federation completely. Well, I mean control over the decision-making centers, as they like to say in Moscow. And this significantly changes the perception of Russia. That is, today, we have a state with a large number of nuclear weapons, 1,400 warheads, which is not controlled by Putin, which is not controlled by anyone. Certain decisions must be made.
I want to transition a little bit to a high-profile visit that you will have here. Former Vice President Mike Pence will be the first U.S. presidential candidate to visit Ukraine. How significant is this show of support?
It seems to me that in order to understand the nature of this or that phenomenon, and war is a huge phenomenon that will have significant consequences for global security control as a whole and for interstate relations in general, because the world will look different. Russia will be in a completely different state. The visits of representatives of the United States establishment here are very important. They feel the nature of this conflict. They feel what Ukraine is like, and they feel what the Russian Federation is. In principle, in my opinion, Mr. Pence understands absolutely clearly what Russia is. He deeply understands Russia and deeply understands the nature of this conflict, that it is not about territories, not about any businesses, not about anything except the main thing, except those values for which the United States were created. Well, that is freedom, competition, democracy, and so on. And of course, it is important for us. And certainly it gives further hope that there will be a deeper understanding in the United States. I mean at the level of society, the understanding of the war that Russia is waging today and why Russia must lose and why Ukraine must be helped. This is about helping a country that is willing to defend the fundamental core values on which the United States as a whole is built. This is very important for us. And it seems to me that any visit by representatives of the Congress or the Senate or political figures, especially those who are candidates for the presidency, symbolize an important understanding of Americans. I mean the understanding of how this war should end from political representatives.
Former President Trump, who is currently the leading candidate for the Republican nomination, said that if he were in the White House right now, he could end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Do you believe that is possible? And what do you make of that claim? Does that kind of claim concern you?
Of course, anyone can express their vision of how things should develop in a historical sense, but we live in the real world. The war started in 2014 in Ukraine. It was not stopped then, and in principle, before that, there were wars that Russia initiated in other countries, including Georgia. And this certainly suggests that Russian foreign policy was built on the desire to capture foreign territories. And this made it possible to build such a model of internal control inside Russia, where people were deprived of their rights and freedoms, and in exchange, they were told that they had a great Russia that can go anywhere and win every war. That is, this concept could not be stopped by a phone call or some conversation with Putin. I don't quite understand why someone still doesn't understand this today. Russia sells nothing but fear.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.